Hello, children. Today we'll start with a very interesting and a new lesson, which is a Retrieved Reformation, written by O.Henry. Now, this is a story, children, a very interesting one, and with a surprise ending. So, let's go ahead with it. Okay, so let's see something about O.Henry first. William Sidney Potter, better known by his pen name O.Henry, was an American short story writer. His stories are known for their surprise endings. Very important. Born on 11 September 1862 in Greensboro, North Carolina, United States, he died on the 5th of June 1910, New York City, New York, United States. His full name is William Sidney Potter, and his short stories, which he has already written, are The Gift of the Maggie and The Ransom of Red Chief. So, this is something about O. Henry, a very remarkable writer, and he was known by his name O. Henry. Otherwise, his full name was William Sidney Potter. Okay, so children, this story is a retrieved reformation. As you can see in the picture, there's a person with handcuffs. So, this clearly indicates that we're talking about a prisoner. Now, what is there about a prisoner? Now, over here it's written, everyone makes mistakes. When is it a good idea to give someone a second chance? So, this is the question that you have to ponder upon. Now, this person, the title itself, a retrieved reformation, the meaning of the word retrieved is recover or to get back to a position which that person or thing had lost. And reformation means to change. So this story is about a person whose name is Jimmy Valentine. Okay, and Jimmy Valentine is the hero of the story. Is a professional safe cracker. Okay, and this is why he was in the prison for that very reason. And in this story, we get to see that how a criminal like Jimmy Valentine, who is so good at safe breaking, transforms, he reforms, he changes. Why? Because he falls in love with a girl. So, the basic theme of this story is that love can transform or reform or change any person from bad to good. So, this is what we're going to see in this story. I hope you all enjoy listening to this story, and maybe things get better and easier for you. So let's start with it, children. So you can open up your books in front of you. It's from your literature book only. So, in a prison shoe shop, Jimmy Valentine was busily at work making shoes. A prison officer came into the shop and led Jimmy to the prison office. There, Jimmy was given an important paper. It said that he was free. So, what is the plot, children? How are you going to start with the story? In the beginning itself, we come to know that a particular person, Jimmy Valentine, is in the prison, and he is in the prison shoe shop, which shows that he was employed making shoes inside the prison, and he was busy at his own work. And just then, a prison officer comes over there and calls him to the prison office. There, Jimmy is given an important paper. Which is that important paper, children? It said that he was free, so he was free to go out of prison. His sentence was over. Jimmy took the paper without showing much pleasure or interest. Very surprising. Otherwise, anybody who gets the paper saying that he's free from the prison would be so happy. But why is he not showing pleasure and interest? He had been sent to prison to stay for 4 years. Underline, children. He was sent for 4 years. He had been there for 10 months. So far, he had stayed for 10 months, but he had expected to stay only for 3 months. So this is such a strange thing which used to happen, which used to happen at that time, in those times. Now, Jimmy Valentine had many friends outside the prison, so he was a resourceful person. He had resourceful friends who could help him to come out of the prison in not more than 3 months. A man with so many friends does not expect to stay in prison long. So he had expected that he wouldn't have to stay in the prison for more than 3 months. But what happened? He had to stay for around 10 months by now. So he was not very happy. He was already disappointed and demoralized with his friends and his contacts by now. And he had started losing hopes that he would ever go out. So it was already beyond time for him when he received that paper. So this is why he did not show any pleasure or interest. Valentine, said the chief prison officer, you'll go out tomorrow. This is your chance. So, what does the prison officer suggest him or give to him as an advice? Please underline this in your book, children. It says, make a man of yourself. You are not a bad fellow at heart. Stop breaking safes open and live a better life. So these are the three things that he suggests him. That make a man of yourself, become a gentleman. Don't be engaged in doing such petty offenses. You're not a bad fellow at heart. So staying with that person, observing him for 10 months, he could make out that that person is not a bad person after all. He's a good person at heart. Stop breaking safes open and live a better life. So stop committing the crime you've been doing and lead a better life. So please, this is important. What is the advice that the chief prison officer gave to Jimmy Valentine? Me? Said Jimmy in surprise. I never broke into a safe in my life. So he completely denied the blame which was put on him. He completely denied that he had ever opened a safe in his life. Oh no, the chief prison officer laughed. Never? Let's see. How did you happen to get sent to prison for opening that safe in Springfield? Was it because you didn't want to tell where you really were? So he knew that he had come to the prison because he had opened a safe in Springfield. So this was the reason why he was in the prison, because he had broken open a safe in Springfield. So this is an important thing, children. You can underline this. This is the reason why he was in the prison. And the chief prison officer knew it. Perhaps you were with some lady and you didn't want to tell her name. Or was it because the judge didn't like you? You men always have a reason like that. You never go to prison because you broke open a safe. So he's being sarcastic. He's being, he's like taunting him and saying that people like you never come, never admit your mistakes. You know that you've done a certain crime, but you don't accept it. So nobody, he says that people don't go to prison because they open a safe. So he's being sarcastic over here. Take him away, said the chief prison officer. Get him the clothes he needs for going outside. Bring him here again at 7 in the morning. And think about what I said, Valentine. So the prison officer started getting irritated because he was not ready. Jimmy was not ready to accept his mistakes. So he tells the other person, the attendant, that take him away for now and get him some clothes. Give him some clothes wearing which he can go outside, and bring him to me at 7 in the morning. And also reminds Valentine about the advice he gave him. What was the advice, children? Coming back to this, the advice was make a man of yourself, you're not a bad fellow at heart, and stop breaking safes open and live a better life. Next, they gave him money to pay for his trip on a train to the city near the prison. They gave him how much? They gave him $5 more. So they had already given him the fare to board a train, and in addition, they gave him $5. Now, why did they give those $5? The $5 was supposed to help him become a better man. How can he become a better man? Once he, you know does something with his life, he employs himself somewhere, so he needs money for all that. So this is why they give it for the person, for the rehabilitation of the person, for that person to become better. Okay. Then the chief prison officer put out his hand for a handshake. That was the end of Valentine. Prisoner 9762. So this was his number when he was in the prison. Mr. Jimmy Valentine walked out into the sunshine. So he was free. Over here, there's a typing error, children. It is Jimmy. So he was now free to move outside and enjoy the sunshine from and get himself free from the shackles of those prison bars. So now you can see it in the picture, children. This is the prison, and this is Jimmy Valentine who's happily moving out. He did not listen to the song of the birds or look at the green trees or smell the flowers. What did he do? He went straight to a restaurant. So he was, craving to have some good food. There he tasted the first sweet joys of being free. So he enjoyed some sweets and celebrated his freedom. He had a good dinner. After that, he went to the train station. He gave some money to the blind man. Again, an important thing, children. This shows that he was a thoughtful person and he had mercy in his heart for the needy. So he gave in even when he had only a $5 with him, even then he thought of helping the person who was more needy than him. So he gave some money to a blind man who sat there asking for money, and then he got on the train. 3 hours later, he got off the train in a small town. Here he went to the restaurant of Mike Dolan. Underline, children. Now, this is Mike Dolan, who is one of his friends. So he straight away went to his restaurant. Mike Dolan was alone there. After shaking hands, he said, "I'm sorry we couldn't do it sooner, Jimmy, my boy. But there was that safe in Springfield too. It wasn't easy. Feeling all right?" So he apologizes because they couldn't bring him out of the prison any sooner. He had already stayed for for around 10 months, and he had expected to come out in not more than 3 months. So the time had definitely exceeded, and his friend apologized for it and said that it wasn't that easy. Now you can see this is the restaurant, this is Mike Dolan, and this is Jimmy Valentine. And you can see the key in his hand. Now I'll tell you about the key. "Fine," said Jimmy. "Is my room waiting for me?" So he was waiting to go to his room, and he asked that, "Is it ready for me?" And the key was of his room. He went up and opened the door of a room at the back of the house. Everything was as he had left it. He opened it and looked lovingly at the tools for breaking open a safe. So, what was the most important thing for him? The most important thing for him were the tools for breaking open a safe. No final tools could be found any place. They were complete. Everything needed was there. They had been made of a special material in the necessary sizes and shapes. Jimmy had planned them himself and he was proud of them. So, children, very important. What was the most important thing for him now? It was his tools, with the help of which he could open a safe and steal money. So, this is his room, and he's so happy to get back to his room. A funny guy, isn't it, children? A week after Valentine 9762 left the prison, underline, a safe was broken open in Richmond, Indiana. No one knew who did it. $800 were taken. 2 weeks later, after that, a safe in Logansport was opened. It was a new kind of safe. It had been made, they said, so strong that no one could break it open. But even then, you could break it. Then a safe in Jefferson City was opened. $5,000 were taken. This loss was a big one. Ben Price. Underline things about Ben Price. Ben Price was a cop who worked on such important matters, and now he began to work on this. So this is about a new character has been introduced. This is Ben Price, who is a cop, is a police officer, and he used to handle such important he used to handle such important matters, and now he was going to work on this case. So I hope you've underlined it. The three things which happened after he came out, the three, robbery. This is how he used to take his tool box along with him and break open this safe and steal the money. Everything easy, everything clean. He is the only man who has the tools to do it. So this is said by Ben Price. And he's the only man who knows how to use tools like this. Yes, I want Mr. Valentine. Next time he goes to prison, he's going to stay there until his time is finished. So he's very angry on him, and he knew that it was nobody else but Jimmy Valentine doing all this. And he knew his way of working because everything was easy, clean. He used to do a perfect work, and he was so good at it. Ben Price knew how Jimmy worked. Now, how did Jimmy work, children? Another important thing, underline. Jimmy would go from one city to another, far away. He always worked alone. He always left quickly when he was finished. He enjoyed being with nice people. For all these reasons, it was not easy to catch Mr. Valentine. So, this is about how he worked and why it was difficult to catch hold of him. People with safes full of money were glad to hear that Ben Price was at work trying to catch Mr. Valentine. One afternoon, Jimmy Valentine and his bag arrived in a small town named Elmore. Important, Elmore. Jimmy, looking as young as a college boy, walked down the street towards towards the hotel. A young lady walked across the street, passing him at the corner, and entered a door. Over the door was the sign, the Elmore Bank. Under inverted commas, children, it is important. Jimmy Valentine looked into her eyes, forgetting at once what he was. So it was love at first sight. He became another man. She looked away, and brighter color came into her face because even she had fallen in love with him, love at first sight, because both of them had forgotten everything else when they looked at each other. Young men like Jimmy did not appear often in Elmore, so he was quite good for that city, and she was happy to see him. Jimmy saw a boy near the bank door and began to ask questions about the town. After a time, the young lady came out and went on her way. She seemed not to see Jimmy as she passed him. Isn't that young lady Polly Simpson? Asked Jimmy. So this was his, trick to know more about the lady. No, said the boy. She's Annabel Adams. Her father owns the bank, children. Now, this is a sarcasm over here. And it is ironical because over here we know that he is good at breaking open safes. The other thing which happened with him today was that he fell in love with a girl at the very first sight. And now he gets to know that she is the daughter of the owner of the bank. Now he is in a false position because he has to choose between the two. He's in a close proximity to the bank, which is his which is his spot of interest, but at the same time he falls in love with somebody. So let's see, what does he choose between the two? Does he choose the money, the robbery, the safe breaking, or does he choose the girl? Because it cannot go together. So let's just see. Now you can see how he is, falling in love with the lady he saw in front of the bank. Isn't she pretty? Not very pretty, according to me. She looks funny. Okay, so Jimmy went to the hotel where he said his name was Ralph D. Spencer. Underline, children. This is the new name which he had, and this is how he introduced himself in that new city. He got a room there. He told the hotel man that he had come to Elmore to go into business. So, what business was he planning to go into? How was the shoe business? Was there already a good shoe shop? So, he was interested in the business of shoemaking. Yes, Elmore needed a good shoe shop. There was no shop that sold just shoes. Shoes were sold in the big shops that sold everything. all business in Elmore was good. He hoped Mr. Spencer would decide to stay in Elmore. It was a pleasant town to live in and the people were friendly. So, why should he stay back in Elmore? Because it was a pleasant town to live in and the people were friendly. You can see that this is the shoe shop that he opened up. This was the business that he was doing in the city Elmore. Mr. Ralph Spencer remained in Elmore. He started a shoe shop. Business was good. At the end of a year, everyone in Elmore liked Mr. Ralph Spencer. His shoe shop was doing very good business. And he and Annabel were going to be married in 2 weeks. So he achieved what he wanted. He fell in love with that girl and he was going to get married to her in 2 weeks. Mr. Adams, the small town banker, liked Spencer. Annabel was very proud of him. He seemed already to belong to the Adams family. They were happily having a great time, children. The next morning, Jimmy was at the Adams home. He was going to a nearby city that day to buy new clothes for the wedding. He was also going to buy a gift for Annabel. It would be his first trip out of Elmore. It was more than a year now since he had done any safe breaking, children. So, this was his reformation. This was his change after falling in love with a girl. That he had given up his profession, he had stopped doing safe breaking, and he was leading a decent and genuine life without involving himself in anything wrong. One day, Jimmy sat down in his room to write this letter, which he sent to one of his old friends. Now, this letter is quite important. Dear old friend, I want you to meet me at Sullivan's place next week on the evening of the 10th. I want to give you my tools. So, why did he want to meet his friend? To give him his tools. I know you'll be glad to have them. You couldn't buy them for $1,000. I finished with the old business a year ago. So, he declares that he was done with safe breaking and he was not going to do that anymore. I have a nice shop. I'm living a better life. And I'm going to marry the best girl on earth 2 weeks from now. It's the only life. I wouldn't ever again touch another man's money. So he decided that he had that determination that I'm not going to steal anybody's money. After I marry, I'm going to go further west where I'll never see anyone who knew me in my old life. I tell you, she's a wonderful girl and she trusts me, your old friend Jimmy. So, this tells us about his reformation, his retrieved reformation, his recovery from what he was, going back to his original self. He had lost himself in the greed for money. Now he was changing, reforming, and going back to his own self, his innocent self, just because he was in love. The Elmore Bank had a new safe. So they had got a new safe for the bank. Mr. Adams was very proud of it and he wanted everyone to see it. It was as large as a small room and it had a very special door. The door was controlled by a clock. Using the clock, the banker planned the time when the door would open. At other times, no one, not even the banker himself, could open it. This is the Elmore Bank, children. Everybody is there and they have come to see the new safe. You can see the two children there. Now, I'll tell you, children, these two children are whose children? The lady sitting there in yellow is Annabelle's elder sister who's married and she has two children. So, even they have come over to see the new safe. You can see the door of the new safe open and the man sitting beside Annabelle is Mr. Adams, and the one standing beside him, holding his hands, is Jimmy Valentine, who is known by the name Spencer over here. He explained about it to Mr. Spencer. Mr. Spencer seemed interested, but he did not seem to understand very easily. The two children, May and Agatha, enjoyed seeing the shining heavy door with all its special parts. So the children were playing there and they were very amazed to see that new safe and the door of it. Suddenly, there was a cry from the women. They had not been watching the children. May, the 9-year-old girl, had playfully but firmly closed the door of the safe, and Agatha was inside. So this is, this created a scene over there because Agatha was inside, and May playfully she firmly closed the door, and it got locked. The old banker tried to open the door. He pulled at it for a moment. The door can't be opened, he cried. And the clock, I hadn't started it yet. Agatha's mother cried out again. My baby! Her mother cried. She will die of fear. Open the door, break it open. Can't you men do something? So she was agitated. She didn't know what to do. Her daughter was locked inside that safe, and she knew how worried she would have been inside. Quiet, said Mr. Adams, raising a shaking hand. All be quiet for a moment. Agatha, he called as loudly as he could. Listen to me. They could hear, but not clearly, the sound of the child's voice. In the darkness inside the safe, she was wild with fear. Can't you do something, Ralph? Try, won't you? So, who is asking this question? Annabelle is asking this question from Spencer, that please do something. He looked at her with a strange, soft smile on his lips and in his eyes. Annabelle, he said, give me that flower you're wearing, will you? She could not believe that she had heard him. She had really heard him. But she put the flower in his hand. Jimmy took it and put it where he could not lose it. Then he pulled off his coat. With that act, Ralph D. Spencer passed away and Jimmy Valentine took his place. Now, Jimmy or Spencer decided that now he will have to get back to his uh, profession, and he will have to open the safe. Unless and until he opens the safe, the child wouldn't be able to come out. So at that act, pulling open, opening his coat and getting to work, Ralph D. Spencer passed away. He was dead for everybody because Jimmy Valentine was very much present there now. He had taken the form of Jimmy Valentine. Passing away over here is like, yeah, passing away means to die. So Ralph D. Spencer perished and Jimmy Valentine took his place. Now you can see the chaos which is created over there, and how this little child Agatha is coming out. So this shows that he was successful in opening the safe, and the best part was that he was carrying his tools along with him because he was going to another city to give it to his friend, and how it helped him over there. In a minute, Jimmy was at work on the door. In 10 minutes, faster than he had ever done it before, he had the door open. Agatha was taken into her mother's arms. Hello, Ben, said Jimmy, still with his strange smile. So, Ben Price was already there. He was in the city and he was observing what Jimmy Valentine was doing, his acts and his behavior. He was studying everything to take the right decision and to trap him at the correct time. You're here at last, are you? Let's go. I don't care now. So he was ready to surrender. He was ready to admit his mistake. He was ready to give in. And he told Ben Price that I am ready to come with you. Let's go. I don't care about anything anymore. And then Ben Price acted rather strangely. So this is the surprise ending. What did Ben Price do? I guess you're wrong about this, Mr. Spencer, he said. I don't believe I know you. Do I? And Ben Price turned and walked away down the street. So this was the surprise ending, children. The cop denied to recognize him and said that I don't think I know you, because he wanted to help him. He saw that this man had changed from being bad to becoming good, and he wanted to give him a second chance. So this is the theme of the story, children. So this was a retrieved reformation of Jimmy Valentine, from being Jimmy Valentine to becoming Ralph D. Spencer. And Ben Price understood it, he acknowledged it, and decided to give Mr. Spencer a second chance, and he did not arrest him and he left. The children, this is the last scene. This is Ben Price, and this is how he is leaving him free to lead a decent and better life with his family. So, children, I hope this story is the story is clear to you now. It's quite a long story, but if you watch this video, I'm sure this is going to help you. We are doing this in the class also, but this video you can watch anytime without facing any network issues also, because in the class there are times when you get disconnected, then you join back and it creates a chaos and you miss some parts of the lesson. But this way you will be able to follow each and every line that I'm explaining, and this will surely make you understand the lesson in a better way, and you can watch it according to your convenience and n number of times. Whenever you want to revise it, you can just watch it. Okay, so like moving to the glossary, children, this you have to write in your notebook, literature notebook. The word retrieve means to recover or regain. Reformation means to rebuild for something good. Reformation and compromise means to adjust, a settlement of differences. Synonyms: hoodwink means trick or to deceive. Okay, to trick somebody or to deceive somebody or to betray somebody. Okay, alibi means an explanation or excuse. Rehabilitate means to renovate or refurbish. So these are the synonyms for these words. Antonyms: strange, or the opposite word for strange is familiar or conventional. Scarce, the antonym for this word is plenty, abundant. Mistaken, the antonym for this word is precise or accurate. Now, idiom which we come across in this lesson, an important one: play by the rules, which means to behave in a fair and honest way with people. And the sentence which I've given to you as an example is: you can trust him. He always plays by the rules. So he always plays honestly and in a fair manner. Now this is the reference to context, children. All these exercises you have to do in your literature notebook and upload the work as soon as possible. I'll give you the due date. You'll be sent it. Okay, as in it'll be sent to you. So the first reference to context: he is in business again. Who is who is talking about whom? So who is talking about whom over here? Ben Price is talking about Jimmy Valentine. C. Over here, you see, I'll just show it to you. Mm, I think it was somewhere here. See, the line is not mentioned over here. There are some lines missing in this, but definitely you'll find it in your notebook. Sorry, in your textbook. So from there, you can make out that it's Ben Price who's saying that about Mr. Spencer or Jimmy Valentine. Which business is being spoken about? His business of breaking open the safe and stealing people's money is being talked about. How did Spencer guess that he was in business again? Now you have the points with you. How everything was clean and everything was perfectly done, smoothly done. And he already knew that those tools could be used only by Jimmy Valentine and not anybody else. And there are more points to it, children, which I've already explained in the video, which you can write in your answer. Moving to the next reference to context. With that act, Ralph D. Spencer passed away and Jimmy Valentine took his place. Who are the two characters mentioned in the above line? We're talking about Ralph T. Spencer and Jimmy Valentine, who are the same people and have, pretended an appearance. So, Jimmy Valentine is pretending to be Ralph T. Spencer and has taken that form for the people to have a different identity. And he did not want to carry his old identity with him, and he wanted to start afresh. What is the meaning of the phrase passed away? How is it relevant in the above line? Passed away means to die down. So, over in this scene, Ralph D. Spencer passed away. He was gone, and who took his place, Jimmy Valentine took his place. It is very much relevant in the above lines because he had to get back to his profession of breaking open the safe. This time he was not doing it for a bad reason. He was not doing it to steal people's money, but he was doing it for a good cause, to help Agatha come out of it. Describe the act. Children, you have it. Now you can, this you have to write on your own. It's there in the video and in your book also, and I've explained it very well in the video. Moving ahead, what was the piece of advice given by the chief prison officer? This I made you underline in the beginning itself. Make a man of yourself, lead a better and decent life, and stop breaking open safes. There was one or two more things that you can add. It's there in the textbook. What did Jimmy's bag contain? Jimmy's bag contained all kind of tools, and you can here add a little more about the kind of tools he had and how much he had to pay for those tools. And some of them were made and designed by him only, which he was proud of. You can add all those in your answer. Why was it difficult to catch hold of Jimmy? Again, given in the video and in your book also, that he used to leave very fast, and he used to travel from one place to the other place far away, and he used to mingle around with good and nice people. So for all these reasons it was very difficult to catch hold of Jimmy. Now children, this is an activity for you to do. You have to give a suitable twist to the ending of the story. Either you turn it to become humorous, or make it mysterious or tragic. This depends purely on your imagination and your creativity. I'll leave it up to you. So, this is a little activity that you have to do, and just write the end of the story. Just turn it your way in either of these fortes. Either you can make it humorous, mysterious, or tragic. So, make that end. You can have, just write a page on it. Just write, just give the twist of the a twist to the ending of the story in your write it in your literature notebook, and then we can discuss it in the class. So children, this is where we finish with this lesson. I hope it is clear to you and of at least some help, because making a video like this takes a lot of effort, and I hope it helps you in some manner. Okay, so please watch it, children, and do the exercises. We will be doing the further discussion in the class. Thank you, children, and have a nice day.